Welcome to This Explainer, Focus Learners. Okay, so today we're looking at something I found genuinely surprising. Instead of hauling away those massive, annoying piles of weeds after a yard cleanup, what if they were actually the foundation for garden gold? We're going to break down a Japanese farmer's secret recipe for turning everyday cut weeds into rich, totally free compost. We'll look at the exact science, the ingredients, and the step-by-step layering method that makes all of this possible.
Okay, let's dive into this. It's a highly relatable question, right? What do you actually do with all those weeds after cutting them? I mean, most of us just consider them a nuisance, a waste product to be disposed of. But our source material challenges this whole mindset, really urging us to see these giant green piles as raw, untapped potential.
Just look at the stark difference between these two paths. If you just leave weeds alone in a pile, they slowly and honestly pretty inefficiently break down into dirt. But by adding rice bran and sealing the pile, we trigger active fermentation. We're literally transforming that exact same yard waste into a nutrient-rich compost powerhouse. It's the exact same base material, but this active brewing method gives us an incredible high-value product for free.
Section 1. The ingredients and prep work.
So meet our secret catalyst here, rice bran. In this specific recipe, rice bran acts as a super potent fermentation accelerator. It provides absolutely crucial nutrients to kickstart the breakdown process. But you really need to notice the strict warning attached to this ingredient. The farmer specifically warns us about portion control. See, if you use too much rice bran, you aren't just accelerating fermentation, you're basically laying out an all-you-can-eat buffet for pests. You want just enough to get the weeds breaking down, but not so much that your compost pile becomes a magnet for every bug in the neighborhood.
Now you might be wondering, if rice bran is so amazing, why not just sprinkle it directly into the garden alongside the weeds? Well, the answer is heat. Raw rice bran actively ferments in the soil. If you put it directly next to your plants, that active fermentation generates heat and microbial activity that will severely damage or even completely burn your precious plant roots. And this is exactly why we have to bake or ferment the bran and the weeds together in a dedicated compost pile first, completely separated from our active garden beds.
Section 2. The secret recipe process. Building this pile isn't just about dumping everything into a messy heap. It's actually a highly deliberate, repeating loop. Step 1. Spread a layer of rice bran right on the ground. Step 2. Add a layer of your cut weeds. Step 3. And yeah, this requires a bit of elbow grease. Use garden shears to chop those weeds down into small pieces right there in the pile. And then Step 4. Repeat the cycle. Bran, weeds, chop. Bran, weeds, chop. You just do this over and over, steadily building up your compost mountain, one tightly packed layer at a time.
There's a great quote from this source that explains the logic behind that chopping step. I mean, why spend extra time cutting up weeds that are already dead, right? Well, tall, loose weeds create massive air pockets. If you don't cut them, you end up with a giant mountain filled with empty space. By chopping the weeds into small pieces, you eliminate that wasted space. You're forcing the organic material to become dense and compact. And when these materials are physically packed tightly together, the fermentation process proceeds much, much faster. It's essentially a battle against empty air.
Along with the bran, the source material introduces a fascinating, though slightly controversial, ingredient, EM bacteria. Now, in the agricultural world, EM, or effective microorganisms, is a highly debated addition. Some experts argue it's completely useless. We aren't here to take sides on the science today, but we are looking at why this specific farmer uses it. According to our source, injecting EM bacteria into these layers serves a dual purpose. It acts as a surprising method for pest control to keep bugs at bay while the pile heats up, and it's supposed to further supercharge the speed of fermentation.
Section 3. The science of baking.
Listen, you simply cannot have fermentation without moisture. Heavy watering is absolutely essential here. Those weeds you just pulled from the sun-baked corners of your yard, they're likely pretty dry. So while you're in the middle of building your pile, right in the thick of that layering process we just talked about, you have to stop and soak the pile thoroughly with water. You want deep, penetrating moisturization. This hydration is the literal spark that wakes up the microbes in the rice bran and kicks the whole breakdown process into overdrive.
So the crucial point is this. Once your pile is built and soaked, you must completely seal it with a heavy vinyl tarp or sheet. And this isn't just to keep the rain off. You are essentially mimicking a greenhouse. By weighing the edges down with rocks or dirt, you're intentionally creating a warm, airtight environment. The moisture from your watering hits the tarp, condenses, and stays trapped inside. The heat from the fermentation is locked in. It's this airtight seal that transforms a pile of wet grass into an active cooking compost engine.
Section 4. The Golden Rules and Troubleshooting. Take a look at the strict boundaries of this recipe. While weeds, rice bran, bacteria, and water are approved to go in, you must strictly exclude things like sweet potato vines, animal bones, or food waste. If you want to compost kitchen scraps, that requires a totally different setup. Mixing raw food waste into this specific weed and rice bran recipe will completely throw off the balance and likely ruin the whole process. So keep it strictly to yard weeds.
Now, once your pile is sealed up, the ongoing maintenance is actually quite simple, but it has to be followed strictly. You need to open the tarp and turn or mix the pile about once every 3 weeks. But the ultimate keys to success are right here. Keep it highly moisturized, keep it perfectly sealed, and ensure absolutely no drafts or wind enter the pile. Wind is the ultimate enemy of this method. If wind gets under your tarp, it dries out the moisture, drops the internal temperature, and halts the fermentation dead in its tracks. You gotta protect that seal.
Which brings us to our final slide, and a question I really want you to carry with you. We've seen the precise steps, the science of layering, the power of rice bran, and the absolutely critical importance of moisture and sealing. So the next time you cut the grass or clear out a patch of tall weeds, will you just throw all that incredible potential away? Or will you take these steps and build your very own mountain of nutrient-dense compost? The secret recipe is yours now. Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and happy learning.